ReefDudes is sponsored by Brightwell Aquatics and Bulk Reef Supply. Today we're checking out a custom aquascape from ArtReefRocks. What's going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. Now today I'm super excited to open these boxes because ArtReefRocks made me a custom aquascape, which I'm super stoked for. If you haven't heard of them, ArtReefRocks makes man-made, really cool structures for reef tanks. It is all artificial. I mean, they're all about saving the reefs and making awesome aquascapes. So yeah, let's get these babies open and check them out. Now it does say these boxes were open and inspected, so hopefully they repack them nicely. And this is going to be going into the office tank to give her a little more style and pizzazz. Got some sweet stickers for the collection. All right. Ooh, now they're individually labeled. And they do have little pegs, so it is kind of almost like a little Lego kind of plug-in system, so they'll figure out which ones go together. Super impressed how every piece is individually wrapped. Now a lot of these have pre-drilled holes, so you have little spots for all your frags and just easy mounting, which is pretty cool. So each of these is designed with a bit of a peg system. So there's a little acrylic rod and there's certain little mounting holes inside. So they did color match. So little colors, I got like red, green, blue, red, 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 blue, and I could use this to recreate the actual structure that they originally built. Or I mean, you could use it to just make your own structure off of that. And you can kind of get crazy. So in a weird way, it's almost like little DIY Lego blocks. So it's pretty cool from that aspect. Now, for instance, we look at this guy, we got a little green mark there, and we got a green mark there, which would tell you that these two go together and gives you that kind of piece. So this one's on the side, so the blue one obviously going to the side of something, so probably, say we put it in here. I'm starting to think I should actually be building this in tank so I can kind of see the water height and where it's going to fit, but I think the little peg system's pretty sweet. So to start out, I'm just going to move my current rock to the sump for now, and we'll pull some of it back up once we get the basics of our new crazy acro structure. It's hard to say if this is going to be easier or trickier building underwater, but we're about to find out. The one aspect I like is that it gives me an opportunity to kind of tweak it as I go. So unfortunately, a couple rocks got broken. Good old DHL was a little rough on the manhandling. However, there's still tons of cool stuff to work with here. So it might not be quite as pristine and pretty as the one they came up with, but I think I'm still going to be able to make some pretty awesome structures out of it. If that's how it goes, that looks super cool. So it's been a couple days, everything's completely cleared up and things are looking absolutely awesome. Now I did remove a lot of the established rock, so I have been dumping in copious amounts of Microbacter 7 just to make sure I'm re-adding a lot of that good denitrifying bacteria. So I've been dumping in a bunch of this daily into the tank. Now a couple things to note. When the rock did show up, there was a few pieces that were broken. Now I'm going to attribute that one to DHL because the rock was packed extremely well. Every single piece was individually wrapped in bubble wrap, and my package had big stickers all over it saying it was repacked and inspected. So I'm going to guess they're a little rough on the package and kind of redid it or inspected or who knows what. But regardless, I kind of wung it a little bit with the scape. So they did, ArtReefRocks did design me an amazing looking scape. And because a few pieces were broken, I couldn't quite rebuild it exactly how they had it, so I kind of made up my own. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm super stoked for how well it turned out. So this is one that I kind of wung it, so it's kind of loosely based off the one that they made, and there's a heck of a lot of improvising. But I think it turned out absolutely phenomenal. Now there is so much flow potential for the scape. There's so many little tunnels, there's so many little archways, it's very open, yet there is a ton of frag space. So I am super stoked for that. And actually one of the really cool things is even some of these rocks are not even touching the sand bed at all. these little acrylic legs underneath, and they're basically floating above it. So this is absolutely phenomenal for having flow through your tank. On top of that, a lot of these plates are all pre-drilled for frag holes, so it's super easy to just kind of poke frags in. You can move stuff around to wherever you want in the tank. And yeah, it makes it really easier as a either display frag tank, or if you want just a super easy way to mount your corals and move stuff around. But with the top down, there is just so much potential for frags, so much coral space. And another big consideration is too, with all these caves and arches and nooks and crannies, there is a ton more habitat for the fish. So some scapes, normally looks good for you, but this one, it's good for the coral, it's good for the fish. There's a bazillion little hidey holes inside, so it should hopefully actually be a lot more natural for the fish to have little crevices everywhere. So yeah, super stoked on how this turned out, especially with kind of winging it and not be able to do the exact scape they built for me. I think it turned out absolutely phenomenal, so super stoked for the scape. Now I did move in some little tester corals throughout the tank. A few of these were in here before, and I did add a few new ones just to kind of gauge a good idea on how everything's doing, and if everything's happy, I will continue to add some more corals over time. I did frag a couple chunks out of my big tank to bring in, just to get some life started in here. But yeah, the camera doesn't do it justice. It is absolutely crazy how this scape turned out, and I am very, very stoked for it. Yeah, so just really happy with how well this turned out. Just so much potential for flow and coral placement and little fish habitat, so super duper stoked. So big shout out to ArtReefRocks. Thank you for hooking me up with a killer deal on the rock. And yeah, despite everything, I think it turned out absolutely phenomenal. So if you guys never heard of them before, definitely check them out. They have some really cool pre-done structures and definitely make some crazy designs for your reef tank. Alright guys, as always, if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next update.